I am Asura. I personify genius. My ancestors were driven from the heart of the earth, forced to live in this bright, wide world. Of course, we've excelled. We exceed expectations in everything we do. With Goblin and Gate and Arcane Crystal, we have asserted our supremacy in this land and made it our own. We will not move another inch. Not for dragons, not for anyone. The eternal alchemy is a fluid contrivance, ever evolving, ever fluctuating. I believe in the power of transformation. I belong to the College of Dynamics. Dynamics crews thrive on fermentation. We're always advancing, morphing into something new. I'm the lever, and my excellent crew is the fulcrum. Together we will move the world. We will force reason from chaos. I've just been informed that defective golems, not mine of course, are causing havoc out in the jungle. Whatever the imbeciles outside the city have broken, I'll fix, and make my name doing so. I'll lead the masses through metamorphosis to an improved future. This is my story.
Hello and welcome. My name is Penny, and like most goblins, I have a big hoard of things that I love. In my hoard, I have lots of games, and lots of those games are really important to me. So I want to show you my hoard, so you can see all the wonderful games I grew up playing that shaped me as a person and inspired me through my life. Now, you might be wondering, this isn't Thief, because I've been playing Thief lately. I started out playing Thief, and I've been continuing Thief, and I'm still not quite done with Thief 2. But I wanted to put this up as a special little series to celebrate 10 years of Guild Wars 2. Guild Wars 2 is going to be coming to Steam on the 23rd. I believe this video actually will be going out the day after the Steam release happens, because I want to keep to my schedule. But I wanted to celebrate the 10 years of Guild Wars 2 and really show some appreciation for pretty much my favorite MMO. Even though this isn't a game that I grew up playing like as a kid, I played it a little bit back in, oh Jesus, what would it have been? It would have been 2015, 2016, a little bit. I remember I was there at PAX for the reveal of the Heart of Thorns expansion. I was literally in the audience. I've found video clips of myself in the audience for the live reveal, me and my sister, which is pretty funny. I played a little bit of it back then. I since lost my account from those days, so that character I had is lost to the void. And then I picked the game back up in, I want to say 2017, 2018. I can't quite remember. I remember it was a little bit before the Path of Fire expansion, which is the second expansion for the game. And I've been playing it kind of on and off since then. And I have to say, out of all the MMOs that I've played over my entire life, this one is probably my favorite. I think it does a lot of things right. There's a lot of things that MMOs do, and I'm not really a fan of. Guild Wars 2 fixes so many of those problems, and is just overall, I think, a shining example of what MMOs should be doing in the modern age. I think a lot of other studios should be following Guild Wars 2's example, and the people over at ArenaNet are doing a really good job, I think, of the game. Are there faults? Of course. There's always things to critique. There's always things that, you know, could be better. I'm not gonna put this up on a pedestal and say it's the most perfect epic game ever. But there's a reason why I wanted to put out this special series of Guild Wars 2 to celebrate its 10 years and celebrate the Steam release, which means that there are going to be an influx of new players. So maybe there will be people who will stumble upon, you know, this video, and I want to try to make sure that I go over as many aspects of the game that I can and show off just the things that I really do think that this game does right. So let's get started. I'm still in the tutorial area, and we still haven't gotten out into the big wide world yet. So let's get to that. Okay, so this is where you start off. At least there is a glitch in the system. There's stuff going on. There's baddies everywhere. This is the instance tutorial zone. Every starting race, there are 5 races in this game. Each one has its own special instance tutorial zone to teach you the movement and basic controls and whatnot. So there are 2... Oh, hello, sir. Oh, that's quite rude. Well, I guess I can show off... Oh, all right, there you go. I'm going to start stabbing you with my sword. There are 2 control schemes. There's sort of a typical one that many people might be used to. The other big MMO that I play is Final Fantasy XIV. And if you're used to that, then, you know, A and D turn your character left and right, move forward and back with W and S, and you hold down right click to turn the camera. But what I really like about this game is I can toggle on action camera mode, which turns it essentially into a over-the-shoulder third-person experience. If you've played stuff like, let's say Mass Effect, you know, where you're used to your reticule being over one of your shoulders, you can actually go into your options and switch where it is. I might want to move it up just a touch, get it just over the shoulder. And you can see, like, the reticule changes if I'm hovering over enemies. You can see those 4 little pips in a diagonal formation. That means I'm out of range. As I get into range, now that I'm in range, there's a circle, and now they are in a horizontal position, and now I can start hitting it with my sword. So you know when you're able to actually attack an enemy, which I really appreciate. And I can toggle between the 2 states at will, and I find it a way more natural to me, at least. I've played enough Final Fantasy XIV to get used to the classic, you know, hold down right mouse button and stuff. But again, just a little thing that I like Guild Wars 2 for is they give you alternate control schemes. It's not bound by default, I believe. Let's see. Here it is, camera. I have toggle action camera. So I can toggle between it at will. So if I need to do like ground targeting skill, I can toggle it off and aim where I want to be. And then go back in and start stabbing people. You might notice, again, I'm gonna make a lot of comparisons to other MMOs that I've played. I've played Final Fantasy XIV. I've played Lord of the Rings Online. I've played Elder Scrolls Online. I've played a little bit of World of Warcraft way back in the day. I didn't really get into it that much.
You there? Get over here and fix this.
So I will be making comparisons to those. Let's continue the tutorial and talk to this guy real quick. Let's see. There's a catastrophic glitch in the Goblin control system. In brief, they've all gone completely loopy. Find Peacemaker Gezi. She'll get to the bottom of this. Peacemakers, they're no help. Yeah, F the police. Sure they are. Well, some of them are okay, a few are, but Gezi's one of the good ones. Alright, I'll see what I can do. So the Asura, which is what I'm playing, they're a diminutive race with sharp teeth and floppy ears and big brains. They are lovingly referred to by the community as shark rats. They are full of themselves because they are very smart and egotistical.
This is just a temporary.
So they might come off as a little grating sometimes, but I love them.
My duties are more technical.
It's pure chaos out here. Unacceptable. What's going on?
Just what it looks like. These golems have gone mad. Zoja suspects someone tampered with them, and by someone, she means the inquest.
Zoja's rarely wrong. Don't tell her I said rarely, by the way. If it is the inquest, she's going to need help. Where can I find her?
At the malfunctioning gate that's spitting out these deranged golems. She claims she could feel them on the other side of the gate laughing at us.
Not for long. I'm going to help Zoja shut down the problem at its source. Thanks for the information. Follow this locale no more.
Okay, so we need to go find this Zoja person and help them out. So the inquest in this game are each race has its own sort of antagonist. So like the human race, they're dealing with bandits. The Sylvari, which are like these plant people, they're dealing with the Nightmare Court. The Norn, which are like these big giant Viking people. They have the Sons of Svanir. And there are the Char, which are like these big cat people. They have the Flame Legion. We'll meet them all in due time. So for us as the Asura, we have the Inquest, which are basically what happens when scientists have no morals. You might notice that compared to some other MMOs, our skill bar is pretty small. I have it set to the keys. It's normally 1 through, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. I set it to more centralized around my my fingers. So my heal skill, for example, is Q, so it's right there. I can press it. So each class, no matter what, has 5 weapon skills, a healing skill, 3 utility skills, and then their ultimate or elite skill. And if you've played, for example, Final Fantasy XIV, and you play a melee character, you know that you have those weapon combos. For example, in Final Fantasy XIV, I play a lot of the monk or pugilist class, and so you start off with boot shine, and then you go to True Strike, and then something like that. I don't know. You have your various, skills that you go through. In this game, whatever you have set to number 1 or left click, it automatically does your melee attack chain for you. So it starts with Sever Artery, then it goes to Gash, and then Hamstring. So as long as you keep hitting the enemy, your auto attack, your primary attack combo is right there for you. Oh, and already we're halfway through the final boss here.
Be a dear and just die already, won't
Yeah,
you?
so the tutorial instance makes it so that you and the other starting players all fight together.
Sturdier golems in my sleep.
Ooh. So they give you a taste of some big combat here. So I came in right at the end. Of course, we missed the
Let's see how you like it when someone kills your masterpiece.
the reveal of this big baddie. But we defeated it, yay! And now we get teleported into the actual game itself. And just wait for it to load. Yes, so I love the hand-painted aesthetic of like the loading screens and the backgrounds and whatnot. God, these old school.
Hey, it's you again.
Hold on.
I see you survived with your epidermis intact.
Of course. Takes more than a giant rampaging inquest golem to get the better of me.
Heh, modest too. Well, you've earned a dash of praise if you ask me. The crews around the city would kill for the assistance of an inventor with your talents. You should ask around. Make yourself invaluable.
Not a bad idea. Thanks.
Ta-da! Explosive intellect completed. A reward, got some money, got some experience points, and a short sword. A new short sword. So just for all the new players who might be watching this, I'm going to go through what we're looking at here. So, let's see. Content guide points to the nearest Events, renowned hearts, and scouts,
I
and
know
unexplored
eternal
areas.
alchemy requires that all things have purpose, but I fail to see it for all.
I'm gonna turn down the dialogue just a touch
Colleague.
so I can hear myself talk. Just a bit. I love the ambient dialogue in this game, but I don't want to get talked over. So you have these scouts here with the scout symbol here. Talk to them.
Welcome to Metrica Province. You'll find private laboratories all over where our crews work on dangerous research, and we pay the price for excellence. Labs need to be carefully maintained, but I'm sure that's not news to you. We see a fair bit of interference from the Inquest. They're envious of our advances and covered our research materials. Our researchers could use someone with your talents. On your journey, you may also encounter nefarious events in the world. Don't let these opportunities pass by you. Jump in and help. As you gad about, you'll encounter our Magi Matter transportive devices, more commonly known as waypoints. They're mini-gates that, for a trivial fee, transport you across great distances. They're the second most convenient way to travel next to our gates.
Yeah, so the first scout you come across will tell you a little bit about the stuff in the area, and also you have these waypoints that you can teleport to for a small fee. As you can see, it says 5 copper to teleport to it. As you level up, the price increases, and it also increases based on distance. So I haven't unlocked any others yet, but as I go around and unlock some, you'll see that they start increasing in price. Here we go. So here's one that costs 7 to go to, and if I go all the way over here, this one, 27 copper. Ooh, that's a lot, at least for me, or at least for a new player. Yeah, this is a big world that we got here. Really big world to explore, and all the way down here as well. But we're all the way up here, so don't worry about it. One thing I do like is each race does have its own starting area. So the Asura start out in Metrica Province. But you can still teleport to the other waypoints of the other starting zones. So the Sylvari start here in Caledon Forest. The humans start over in Queensdale. The Norn, where is it? Here we go. Over in Wayfarer Foothills. And then the Char over in Plains of Ashford. So if you start a new game and you're playing with your friends and you're like, oh, we can't meet up, we're in a different area. No, you can instantly teleport to the starting zone of your friends and you can still play together. They have these different starting zones so that you can have a sort of lore-friendly way of getting into your character and learning about the world. But they still wanted to make it so that you can go hang out with your friends and stuff, which I really appreciate it. So we can see here, let me zoom in on my map just a touch so we can see a little bit better. All right, we leveled up. Let's see what our level up says. Level 2 rewards, our primary attributes increased. Click for more information. Go to the hero panel to equip our new weapon we just got. Our stats are improved. So yep, there are basic stats in this game. Sort of like if you played like D&D or whatever, there's, strength, dexterity, endurance. In this game, it's power, precision, toughness, vitality, condition damage, expertise, concentration, ferocity, and probably like 1 or 2 more that I can't remember off the top of my head. I know, I'm a bad fan. I can't remember all the stats off of the top of my head. And yes, you've unlocked weapon skill too. So as you level up, you unlock your weapon skills. They slowly give you your weapon skills as you level up. So I believe, yeah, here we go. At level 8, we'll have all of our weapon slots unlocked. And then at level 31, we'll have all of our slots in general unlocked down here. So, they want you to sort of ease you into your class. So accept that. And they tell you, all right, what's coming up next? So at level 5, we'll unlock a new profession skill. We'll learn about fine equipment at level 6. At level 10, you get our next personal story step, and then we start getting hero points at level 11. The personal story is every 10 levels up until, I believe, level 60. Then it starts getting a little bit more bunched up. But a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll play to level 10, and then there's like a special key that you can get for unlocking loot boxes once a week. It resets every Monday, I believe. There's like a Monday reset. So you'll see a lot of new players. You'll see a lot of veteran players making new characters, and they'll often have like humorous names like, I'm getting a key this week or something. And they'll just play to level 10, get the key, unlock the loot box, delete the character, and then repeat ad infinitum. Oh, new event. Help Peacemaker weaken the malfunctioning PM900A golems. So we just have to go around and smack things until they fall over. So as you can see here, I can do my auto attack. It's cycling through. I'm dealing bleed damage and occasionally crippling the enemy, which slows them down. And you can see up on the top, it also has information about them. You can see, self-repairing. So if I leave them alone, actually my bleed damage will do too much damage to them for them to start self-repairing. But if I take a step back and then wait for the bleed damage to go away, I think they'll actually go into like a special mode. They'll like hunker down and start repairing themselves. Oh, now they're doing their big spinny attack. Yep. But yeah, so you can always get a little bit of information about what the opponent does at the top. So we'll just hit them until they fall over. I'm low on health. Oh, but you do heal out of combat. I wanted to show off my heal skill. One thing about this game is your attacks do not require a target. So I don't have to have a target in front of me. I don't have to have the enemy targeted in order to perform my auto attack. And you might also notice down here, you might notice it says number of targets 3. So a lot of melee attacks have multi-target effects. Like they'll have what is called a cleave effect, which means that it can hit multiple enemies at once. So ranged attacks tend to do really strong damage against single targets, although you can sometimes upgrade it to be affecting targets in a line, so your attacks will pierce through enemies. And then melee attacks tend to have strong damage to multiple enemies around you. So you can focus on single precise attacks against a single enemy, or you can just dive into the middle of battle and just start blasting away. So you can see here, let me zoom into the map is a little bit more fleshed out. So let me step out of that real quick. So yeah, here we go. Support duelist Golemancer research. So whenever you're in an area, it'll start showing you stuff nearby that you should go to. So up in the top right corner by default, I believe, it'll say, hey, go in this direction. And here's a quest. There you go. You don't have to talk to an NPC. There's no person standing around with a big question mark over their head. You just go into the area and they give you a to-do list. So here I am, and it just says, experiment on inactive golems, repair control panels, subdue haywire golems, and organize toolboxes along the road. So as long as I'm in the area, I can just hit this haywire golem until it, stops being haywire. And you can see in the top right corner, the little bar filled up a little bit. So you can just inadvertently finish quests just by being in the area and doing stuff. Like as long as you're attacking enemies, you're interacting with the environment, you're doing what you're supposed to do in games, you will complete quests and you will get experience points, which I think is a really fantastic way of removing some of the dullness of, oh, I need to go talk to this NPC with a question mark. Oh, I need to walk to this area and do this thing. Oh, I need to go back and talk to them again to finish the quest. No, you go in the area, you do the stuff, and the moment the bar is filled, you're done. You get the XP, you get the money, and you don't have to talk to anybody. It's very antisocial, and I love it. So you might notice also I have this new skill. Let's see, Savage Leap. So I can jump a range of 600 units and it will do some damage and cripple the enemy for a little bit. Combo Finisher Leap, we'll learn about combo fields and combo finishers later. But essentially, if there's a combo field, you can do a combo finisher, and it combines the two into an even more powerful effect. So we'll learn about that once we get a chance to. A nice thing about this action camera mode that I have is you can see there's 3 ways that the reticule can be. I have up close with the dots in a horizontal and vertical way, which means that I am in range of my auto attack. If I get further away, as long as I'm in range with at least one of my non-auto attack skills, it will be diagonal, but it will have that circle, which means that you can see there's a tiny little red bar underneath of these skills. I am in range with my Savage Leap, so I can tell because the reticule is circular but still diagonal, so I can leap to it and hit it. So there you go. I can tell just at a glance with my reticule what I can hit the enemy with. And if I'm still unsure, I can look at the bottom of the skill bar. There's that tiny little red line, which means you're out of range of whatever you have targeted. So let's go around and let's start hitting some golems.
Normal functioning.
Resume normal functioning. Yes, you better. I hit you a lot. So there might be a lot of stuff happening on the screen. You don't have to worry about it too much. I'm going to set it actually to story mode while I'm doing all this. I don't need folks staring at anything happening in the chat. Or maybe I can do... Let's see. You could see that there's a chat mode here of... I'm going to have to blur that contact name out. You know, people saying in the chat, like, hey, how do I get to this stuff? There's going to be people asking for questions. Once the Steam release happens, in these tutorial zones, there's going to be an influx of people asking questions. And if you're a veteran player, please reach out, answer questions, and most of all, be nice. Like, don't laugh at stupid questions. And also stuff like don't belittle them for things like, oh, is this going to be important? Don't be like, oh, none of that matters. You know, none of X matters. Like, don't downplay any aspects of the game. If they're asking the question, then clearly it matters to them. So you really should, be nice to these new players and help them feel welcome and help them experience the wonder of this game. You don't have to do killing to improve the bar in the top right corner. You can still, here I somehow am floating this with my mind. There you go. So I've sorted that toolbox, and that's still gonna increase the bar on the top right corner. There are people actually who do runs of this game pacifist mode, and they will literally try to complete the game without killing or hurting a single enemy. And it's possible to get to level 80, which is maximum level, without hurting anybody, without doing any kills or whatnot, simply by gaining XP through non-violent means. Okay, so we have to diagnose what's wrong with it. I don't understand what any of these words mean. Although I will say 2 frayed wires next to the fuel tank is a bad idea. That did not fix it. I will now fix it manually. That is what we call percussive maintenance. But there are other things on the map too. You can see I just came across this area and I got some XP for discovering the Battleground Plaza. So there are points of interest that you can explore as well. And as you explore the map, you get XP. You find new areas, points of interest. There are vistas, which I'm going to get that one right now, which show you some of the map, and they all increase your XP. So just by exploring and finding new places and new stuff, you'll get XP. So they encourage you to go around and look at new stuff. They don't want you to stay in one place grinding the same stuff over and over. One of the design philosophies of Guild Wars 2 is you should never have to grind more than is necessary. So a lot of stuff in this game is account bound, which means you unlock it on one character, you unlock it for every character. If I unlock mounts, I unlock it across all of my characters forever. If I unlock a item skin or a weapon skin or, you know, some fancy legendary item at maximum level, I unlock it across every character on my account for good. They don't want you to have to go back through and unlock the same stuff over and over. For the most part, there are some things that are character bound. There are some things that are you know, personal achievements and whatnot, and you still have to, you know, oh boy, I got a lot of XP for that. You still have to, you know, do a little bit of personal grinding for that, but I think for the most part, it's very, very lenient, and you have a lot of chances to just play how you want and not have to worry about, oh, I need to do more grinding again. So yeah, we finished that heart quest, or renown heart quest, and they just say, Excelsior, you've done some fine work, Penny the Goblin. Thank you. Not often that I find myself impressed with the work of another. I've even heard a number of crews mention your name with both admiration and jealousy. While admiration is nice, jealousy is the sweet nectar of others' bitterness. Dula. So just for finishing it, I get some money, and I get karma, which is a special currency for buying unique items. And I don't have to talk to the quest giver again, but if I do, I can sell stuff. So I need to switch out to my new short sword. I can sell stuff to them and buy various things as well from them. Sometimes there are unique item and weapon skins that you can only get from heart vendors, as people call them. I also leveled up. So we got a leather bag. We got more stat increases. Yep, now it's telling us, oh, we got this new bag. Let's go into our inventory and equip it. And it's also telling us about player versus player. Ooh, fun. I'm not a fan of player versus player in any game. It stresses me out too much. So here's our inventory. Mine is not going to look the same as yours if you're a new player. I have a bunch of shared inventory slots, which across every character on my account, I can access all these slots. It's going to look more like this to you when you're a new player. So I'm going to equip this new bag to increase my slots. I'm going to equip this new sword, which has better stats, which has better damage. And we have a tiny fang, which is a crafting material. I'm going to deposit that. So crafting materials, you can deposit directly into your bank, which I really appreciate. In fact, the inventory controls are really nice. You can deposit all materials with this button right here. So any crafting materials that you have will go right into your bank, and you can compact everything down. So if I move that over, compact, it compacts it down. You can also hide item rarities. You can hide bag slots. So if you just want one big interface, you can do that. And then if you have new items in your inventory, it will highlight them. You can hide that. You can turn off the highlights in the options. But we equip this new sword. Let's go into our hero panel. Oops, I was just dying stuff. So first time as you go into your hero panel, this is what it'll look like. A lot going on here. Got your equipment here. So you can see your attributes here. I pressed H, by the way, to open up my hero panel by default. You can see what you have equipped. You can see, oh, I get new weapons at level 6 and weapon swapping at level 10. There's different items you can equip here. There's underwater content. You can equip aquatic weapons and aquatic headgear or rebreathers that help you breathe underwater. For foraging and logging and mining. You have your stuff right here that lets you do all of that. If you've played Final Fantasy XIV, for example, there are the Disciples of the Land. You know, there's the botanist, the miner, and the fisher. If you've played Lord of the Rings Online, I believe, I can't remember what they're called. I think there's like a foraging, not class, but like sort of skill line that you can practice. In this game, there's no skill related to it. As long as you just have the correct tool, you can gather those materials. So higher level items require higher level tools. It's not specific, like, this is you know, this is like Minecraft. Oh, there's diamond ore, I need an iron pickaxe, and something like that. Or I need a diamond pickaxe specifically for this obsidian ore. No, it's as long as you have the high enough level pickaxe or logging axe or sickle for harvesting, you can just grab it. So there's no, fretting over if you have the right stuff or not. Whoops. And then you can see your attributes on the side, so it increases your attack. Toughness is for armor, so it combines your defense from here with your armor to come up with your total armor value. Got vitality, you got your precision, which affects your critical chance. Ferocity, which increases your critical damage. Condition damage, which is stuff like bleeding. Those are conditions that deal damage. Healing power, that's another one that I forgot. So whenever you're healing yourself or your allies, healing power will increase that. And then expertise is condition duration. Concentration is your boon duration. So boons are stuff like swiftness, protection, might, things that increase the stats of you and your allies. Agony resistance, you only need that if you're doing fractals, because there's a special agony mechanic. That's a high level thing. You don't need to worry about it right now. And then your magic find, as you find luck, essences of luck, you can consume them and it increases your magic find, which increases chance to find rare items. So again, it's account bound. So across all of my characters, I have a 209% chance increase to find rare items. This is true if I go to achievements. Where is it? Here we go. My account bonuses. So my magic find is at 209%. So as I collect more luck, it'll go to 210. XP gain permanently across all my characters is increased by 18%. Karma gain permanently, 12% increase. Gold find, I wish it was 69%. That would have been great. Yeah, and your account-wide achievement points, and as you gain more achievement points, you get these new chests that give you, as you can see here, this heavy achievement chest here gives me a 2%. Ooh, will that... When will I get 69%? Let's see. So here, at 17,000... Wait, no. I did that wrong. Sorry. 1%. So 1% there. Okay, so 17,500. They'll be combining that plus 1% and that plus 1%, and then I'll finally have 69% gold find, and I'll be happy in life. Sorry, I was just obsessed with that. Let's go to this area here. What do we got going on over here? Assist Professor Gaff in teaching his young progeny. Let's see. So inspire impressionable progeny, deter inquest recruiters, chase down unruly progeny, perform demonstrations with teaching apparatuses, and protect progeny from any potential threats. So basically, protect the kids. All right. Progeny teaching apparatus. I will activate this. What do we want to do? 3 sets of curricula. Let's do, advanced pyrokinetics. I love that. Oh, whoops. Let's not set the kids on fire. Stab, stab, stab. There we go. And as you can see on the right there, I got a warm stone. Some enemies will drop trophies. All they do is you sell them for money. And there is a collection achievement if you collect all the different trophies in the game. You'll get an achievement for that. They're just for money. As you can see, it says soulbound on it, which means only my character can use it. and essentially only my character can sell it. Here's a vista. I'm going to view it, and it gives you a really lovely look at the nearby area. You can skip them. A lot of people will skip them if they're just doing map completion. But for your first view, you really should take the time and just look at that lovely camera sweep. I gotta say, I love the graphics in this game. It has a very, very unique style that I really love. It has like a painted sort of look to it. A lot of the aesthetic in this game is very painterly looking, and I really, really love it. I think even after all these years, this is, I mean, a starting zone from nearly 10 years ago, and it still looks, you know, quite gorgeous to look at, in my opinion. Impressional progeny. What do you want? Let's see. Helpful insight. Energy is created inside the capacitor. I knew what I meant. You just helped me. I was a smart one all along. Yeah, sure. Inquest recruiter. Yep. I gotta threaten them and then get out of here. Yep, just like in American high schools, if you're used to army recruiters coming to your high school. Same thing, except mad scientists. Anybody who's not from America, but like, what the hell? You have army recruiters coming to your high schools? Yeah, we do. Let's do creation of energy for this one. A dazzling display of energy, which means I summoned a storm imp. Let's stab you. Got a cool stone from that one. I'm gonna threaten this guy. I'll threaten you back. Slash threaten. Or I can just threaten you with my sword. You can actually go and talk to the heart vendor before. Oh my god, this place is called Splorg Meta Mystics Lab. God, I love Asura names. They're so just good. Yeah, I can still talk to them. And you can ask them about all the various things that you want them to do. They'll say, all right, I'll go around and I'll do that. Oh, and there's an event in the area. If I complete the event, it will improve my... Yep, there you go. That was enough to get me to the end. One thing that will always help you in heart vendor areas or heart quest areas, pretty much universally, is reviving allies and performing events. So even if you're not doing the stuff that's required, sometimes you'll still inadvertently help the area. Let's see. Ooh, weapon skill on 3 unlocked. Now we have Final Thrust. So as long as they have under 50% health, I deal extra damage, which is pretty great. And then they tell you about points of interest. So they reveal new locations and give you XP, like I said. And there was banking, but we haven't unlocked that yet. Well, we haven't unlocked... sorry, we did unlock it just now, but we haven't found a banker just yet, so we'll have to wait for that. Yeah, again, these areas, they really just encourage you to go around and find stuff to do. I want to try to find... There it is, over there. So, I'm going to walk this way. I am a little bit... You're a little bit slow to begin with. You don't have any movement speed increases and whatnot. I do have mounts unlocked. You can see in the bottom right, I have my mounts. I believe I have... I usually set sky scale to Z. I have control set to Raptor, and then I have sky scale set to Z, and then over on the right, I believe, yeah, I have period set to Skimmer, comma set to Springer, the semicolon for Jackal, the right bracket for Roller Beetle, and left bracket for Griffin. But I'm going to try to avoid using those while I'm playing this and leveling up to level 80, just to show off what the typical experience is in this game for people starting off. So let's go this way. Yeah, here we go. So we got a dagger, which we can't use on this character yet, technically. We have to reach level 80 and unlock the Spellbreaker specialization. So unlike, for example, Final Fantasy XIV, where weapons are locked to a specific class or specific job in, as they say in Final Fantasy XIV, classes in this game, which are called professions, can equip a multitude of weapons for each class. So as a warrior, I actually have the access to a lot of different weapons because I'm a warrior. I'm a master of arms. So I can equip swords, axes, shields, great swords, hammers. There are guns in this game. I can access all sorts of weapons. Some classes are more limited. So spellcasters, like the Elementalist class, they can only equip staves, scepters, and focuses, I believe, and daggers right off the bat. But they make up for it by being able to switch between elemental attunements, which gives them essentially, if you equip a staff on an Elementalist, you're like, oh, I only have 5 skills and I have just a staff. No, you have 20 because you can flip between fire, water, earth, and air. So they make up for it by having a bunch of different attunements to go through. So, you know, even classes with limited weapon selection typically make up for it in different ways. Now here's something. Dodging. Yes, it's Dark Souls time, baby. So you can double tap. I have double tap set off because I'm very finicky with how I press my keys. So I usually turn double tap off. But I have V key set to dodge. So as you can see, my endurance bar went down. And I dodge through. If I try to get into it without dodging, boom, I get hit and thrown back. But if I press V, I can dodge through, and you have those evade frames that make you immune to pretty much everything. There are very, very, very few instances in which dodging will not help you. Usually they're like high-level boss encounters where it's like, you know, some crazy big attack that wipes the entire, you know, group if you're not standing in a specific location or something. Usually it's obvious, like, I can't dodge out of that. You know, it's a nuclear bomb that's being dropped on me. So, yeah, you could dodge in this game, and one of the ways that combat works is you watching your opponents. Sometimes they'll have a very obvious sort of like wind up or L, if you will, for their attack. You'd be like, oh, I need to dodge right now. So you do that, you dodge, ta-da, and you've dodged the attack. And so there are classes that focus a lot on dodging attacks. Like if you're playing a thief, they have a lot of traits and abilities that help them dodge more often. So, you know, sometimes managing your stamina is really important to winning a battle rather than hitting an enemy head on. Stab these people. Here we have a hero challenge. These will give you hero points. So test your might against this guy and you'll get a hero point. So stab you. And see these other players here. And dang, all of us got a hero point for that. Yeah, a bunch of other new players here. Yeah, there's a Char right there. They're big cat people. They're like cat, lion people. I can't, it's hard to think of words for them. There's a human for you. I like the humans in this game. A lot of people say they're boring, but I think they have really cool lore. They're essentially like, and people call them like they're basically aliens, if you will. Like they are not originally of this world. They came here from somewhere else or something. And one big plot point is that their gods have abandoned them. They have these 6 gods, and all of them just sort of abandoned them. All the gods left the world, and all their prayers are sort of ignored a lot, which is kind of sad. I wonder if we'll see any other people soon. There's another Asura right there. That's a... You can see when you right-click on a player, you can see... So that little icon right there, that little shield icon, that means that they're playing as a Guardian. See that they're level 5, and they have their passive effects right now. So one of the passive effects playing as a Guardian is they have the Virtue of Justice, which every few hits, they apply burning on their attacks. So I don't have any passive effects right now. They'll show up right here above my utility skills here. I don't have any right now, but as you go through, you'll get your passive effects, you'll get your boons that will show up there. And then above your weapon attack bar here, once you unlock them, you'll start seeing your profession skills, which each profession, warrior, guardian, thief, ranger, the whole gamut, they all have a unique mechanic. And once we reach level 5, we'll get our unique mechanic as a warrior, which warrior is one of my favorite classes to play. I think they are incredibly versatile. They're very easy for new players to pick up and play. I would say ranger, warrior, and guardian are probably the 3 easiest classes to start off playing with. Warrior, because it's so simple and easy to learn. It's like you hit stuff and it falls over. You have the highest health pool in the game other than necromancers. Yeah, oddly enough, necromancers, which are a spellcasting class, have a super high health pool. Yeah, you have really high health. You have good armor because you're a heavy armor class. Here we go. We leveled up my profession skill. So now, as a warrior, in combat, we generate adrenaline, which means that as it increases, every time you hit a target or get hit by a target, your adrenaline will increase. And when you hit that first bar, you'll unlock 3 bars eventually. Right now, it's just 1. So then we can do a flurry, which does a bunch of damage, and as you can see there, it immobilizes the enemy, deals bleeding damage. So you can see the level 1, 2, and 3. So as you increase your adrenaline, once we hit the 3-bar level, we'll immobilize the enemy for 4 seconds. That could be a very long time. If you're like in PvP or World versus World, which would be like a big, large-scale PvP with like sieges and whatnot, being immobilized for 4 seconds and not being able to remove that immobilize effect, that's an eternity. Like that's game changing right there. So, oh yeah, we finally got our burst mechanic as a warrior. So each class has its own mechanic. So warrior has burst mechanic, which is, gain adrenaline in the middle of combat and then do a big burst of damage. The Guardian, their mechanic is their virtues, which is their virtue of justice. Here we go. Here's a waypoint unlock. As you get close to it, you unlock the waypoint. Oh, here we go. Here's a necromancer, and they've got their as you can see, they've got minions. They can summon undead creatures. I think that's a Norn, actually. Is it? I think so. I'm pretty sure it's a Norn specific hairstyle. I think that might be a very short Norn, or I'm just going crazy. So as you can see, they can summon shadow fiends, bone minions. That explodes on command, cripples and knocks down on command. So each class is very, very unique. So warriors, as I was saying, can do burst. Guardians have a virtue mechanic, so they have these passive effects that give them extra defense, that regenerate their health over time and give them burning every few attacks, which is why they're very good for beginners. You have these automatic boons on your character pretty much all the time, but then you can activate them so they turn from a passive effect into an active effect, which will increase the effects of it. So your Virtue of Justice, for example, that gives you a little bit of fire damage every few attacks. You can activate it. Now your next attack deals a bunch of fire damage. So if you need that little burst of fire on the enemy, for example. The Revenant, which is the third heavy armor class and is only available if you have a paid version of the game. This game is free to play. The entire base vanilla game is free to play with some limits. For example, you can't buy everything on the trading post. There's limitations on that, and there's limitations on character slots and joining guilds, I think, and purchasing certain stuff. But it's another thing that I think this game does really well is that there is no subscription fee. When you buy the game, it's a one-time payment, and the expansions often go on sale. As long as you buy one of the expansions, you get the full version of the game, the full version of the base game, and whatever expansion you unlocked. Heart of Thorns and Path of Fire, which are the first two expansions, oftentimes go on sale together, and with this new Steam release, I'm absolutely certain that they will be bundled together for like 50% off or something like that. So you do that one-time payment, and the game is yours. Done. Like you don't have to pay a subscription fee, which is why I really like it. Because sometimes I'm like, oh, I want to play a different game. I don't feel like playing Guild Wars right now, and I don't have to feel guilty. Because like if I have a subscription fee to a game, I feel like I have to play it to feel like I'm getting my money's worth. But with Guild Wars 2, if there's like a few months where I'm like, I don't feel like playing Guild Wars 2, I feel like, playing Minecraft or whatever, I won't feel guilty because I know I can always come back and the game will be there for me, and I still have all my stuff, everything on my account. I don't have to repurchase a subscription. It's there for me. It's always there for me. So the Revenant class, as I was saying before I went on that big ramble, the Revenant class is only available if you have the full version of the game, which I think is a good idea because it is a little bit more in depth. Its mechanic is energy. So basically they have these ancient spirits that they sort of channel through their body, and you get to balance the energy of using certain items. Diving goggles. I can dive off this cliff. Whee! Ta-da! Yeah, you can swim underwater and stuff, but I haven't unlocked a weapon yet, so I can't properly fight. The Revenant channels spirits through their body, and they use energy to use certain attacks. The medium armor professions, which are Ranger, Thief, and Engineer. The Ranger has a pet that follows along with them, so their profession mechanic is just controlling their pet, telling it to attack or come back, or use the pet's special skill like pouncing on the enemy or clawing their eyes out or something like that. The Thief, their special mechanic is initiative. Their weapon skills do not have cooldown timers. Instead, their weapon skills cost a certain amount of initiative that increases over time. So it's almost like a mana pool, if you will. And all their attacks cost mana, if you will, if you want to think of it like that. Which makes it a little bit more difficult to get into if you're a new player. Because there's going to be some whiplash of, wait, this class plays differently than the others. Well, that's why. Then there's the Engineer, which mechanic is the tool belt. Basically, all of their utility skills down here will have a tool belt option as well. So basically, they get double the amount of skills than most other classes. So they'll have their healing skill, and then they'll have a healing related tool belt skill, and each skill from their regular skill list has its own unique tool belt skill. So sometimes you have to balance, like, what do I want on my tool belt versus what do I want in my utility skill list. Again, very complicated, which is why something like the Ranger is a lot easier to get into for new players, because it's very simple. You have this pet with you that attacks your target and deals damage for you, and there you go. Like, that's super, super easy to get into. And then you have the light armor classes, which are the Mesmer, Elementalist, and Necromancer. Necromancer actually is kind of easy to get into because its mechanic is life force. As you kill enemies, you gather their life force, and it's basically like a secondary health bar that you can activate. And it gives you a new set of skills. You enter like this shadow form that lets you like shoot death balls and lasers out of your hands and whatnot. The Mesmer is like a illusionist class, and their mechanic is shattering. So they summon these phantasms and clones, and they attack the target and confuse the target, and then they can shatter the illusions to deal extra damage, or like confuse the target, or blind the target, or cause bleeding, or daze the target, basically stunning them. So there's a bunch of different things there, and so their whole thing is balancing, like summoning these new illusions to distract the enemy, and then basically making them explode to deal damage. And then there's the Elementalist, and their core profession mechanic is swapping elemental attunements. So remember when I said before, they have very few weapons available to them, and they actually can't swap weapons while in combat. Same with the Engineer. The Engineer and the Elementalist can't swap weapons while in combat. They make up for it by the Elementalist can swap elemental attunements, which changes their whole sort of way that they fight. So you can swap to water if you want to deal chill, cold damage and also heal your allies. You swap to fire if you want to do a lot of AoE damage. You can swap to earth if you want to like cripple and defend yourself. And then air is good for like getting around quickly and also like stunning enemies. So you swap between them based on the situation that you're in. And then for engineer, they have these toolkits that they can equip. So you can be in the middle of combat as an engineer, and you can be like, oh, well, now I have a flamethrower. Like, you just have a flamethrower in your hands now. So, based on the situation at hand, even though they can't swap weapons and they have a very limited weapon set, they still have a lot of utility and a lot of versatility if you build them right. So again, like, that's another thing that I really like about this game. You see that this enemy keeps stealthing? Even though they're stealthed, I could still hit them. You could see that my auto attack chain was still going through the motions. Even though they were invisible, I was still able to hit them. Stealth does not make you immune to attacks. It just means that you can't see them. But if you know vaguely where they are, you can still hit them. So I don't need a target to start using my attacks. I can do all of my attacks just in midair. So these Skelk lurkers that can teleport and turn invisible, if I keep hitting him, he might teleport. Oh, he didn't. But if he goes invisible, I can still try to hit him if I know vaguely where he is. And that's true in PvP mode as well. If you're playing a thief, which has the most access to turning into stealth mode, although some other classes can go stealth as well, it's mainly the thief class. Yeah, I was still able to do my auto attack chain, still able to hit them a little bit. If you're playing a thief, you're not immune to attacks. If an enemy starts wildly flailing at the air, they might still be able to nick you a little bit, and they'd be able to tell because their auto attack chain would start, going through and continuing, which means, oh, I've hit something. I don't know where they are, but I've hit something. I know the enemy is here. So even stealth enemies can still be dealt with, which I think is a cool idea. You don't need a target to attack stuff or to do stuff. With some exceptions, there are some times where you do need a target for a specific skill, but I'd say 98% of the skills in this game you can just do. You can just start stabbing things willy-nilly in the air without having to worry about it. Again, I love the combat in this game. I think it's very fluid. You can move while attacking on pretty much every skill, unless the skill has a specific channel timer, which means you have to sit there and wait for it to channel through. Even then, some channeled skills still allow you to move. And you can dodge, you can move every direction that you want, you can stab in every direction you want. It's not like Final Fantasy XIV where, oh, you're casting a spell and you accidentally tap the movement key and now your spell has been canceled. No, you're expected to move around quickly and dodge attacks and keep moving. There are very few cases where you will want to be standing in one place constantly. It's just very, very fluid, and I really enjoy that. The way that they handle combat in this game just feels so much different than other MMOs, in my opinion. I still haven't shown off my burst attack. So when you're out of combat, your adrenaline goes down, which makes sense, you know. But let's go to an enemy, and then I'll show off my burst mechanic. So I have it set to one of my thumb mouse buttons, so I can activate it whenever I want. Oh, yep, see, he stealthed, and I was still able to get off a few hits. So I'm going to stab him. I'm going to kill him before I can get that, but I can hit this guy, I think. Okay, so I healed myself, all right. And then burst attack. So I'm channeling it, I can't move during that one. But I did a big flurry of blows that, you know, started chewing through his health. Obviously, it does more damage if you have better equipment, but again, it's oh god, it's Sasuke. Again, your bursts get better as your level increases. All of them do. So when you're starting off, you slowly gain your skills, you slowly gain your mechanics. So as an elementalist, you start off with only one element. You start off with fire, I believe, and then you unlock water, and then I believe earth, and then air. I can't remember if it's earth and air or air and then earth, but I'm pretty sure you get water next. Same with your, tool belt skills as an engineer. You unlock those over time. Your virtues as a guardian, you unlock those over time. You basically have everything basic unlocked on your character by the time you reach level 31 when you get your elite skill. And then level 80 is when you'll have all of your traits and abilities unlocked in general. And then you'll be able to swap out traits, swap out abilities, which give you passive effects and whatnot. So if you know, Final Fantasy XIV, you have your traits line that tells you, oh, you at this level you unlock, such and such. In Elder Scrolls Online, you have your skill levels that give you your passive effects. In Lord of the Rings Online, you have those skill trees. This game has a skill tree as well, and you can swap it out of combat. You can't do it in combat, but you can swap your skill trees whenever you want, and that allows you to be very flexible. Honestly, the reason I like Warrior as a class, I keep calling it a class. I know it's technically called a profession, but I'm so used to D&D and also other games. I'm so used to calling them classes. If I go to build, you can see level 21, level 45, and level 71 is when I can fully flesh these out. If I can't unlock it yet because I haven't reached level 11. But yeah, by default, you have 3 builds you can swap between, and you can be like, okay, I want this build to be more support focused. I want this build to be more based around stuns and crowd control. I want this one to be based around single target damage. So if you're like, oh, I'm going to get into this boss fight here, I'm going to need that single target damage. Or, oh, there's an event over there that I want to do. I'm going to do my support build so I can help all my allies around me. So you can play these classes very differently based on the situation. So something like the, melee DPS group in Final Fantasy XIV, you are expected to only do DPS. If you're a tank, you're only expected to tank. If you're a healer, you're only expected to heal. That is not the case for this game. One thing that a lot of people kind of get tripped up about when they're first playing this game is they'll ask, okay, so which classes are the melee DPS, the range they'll assume like, oh, well, rangers range DPS, warriors, melee DPS or tank or something. There's no DPS, there's no tank, there's no healer in this game. Every class is technically capable of performing any role. Some of them obviously perform them better than others, but if you're playing a warrior, you can tank, you can do DPS, you can also do a support build. I have a lot of fun playing a support build as a warrior because it just feels really satisfying to me, at least. But if you're a guardian, you can actually do a ton of DPS while having a decent survivability, because guardians, in my opinion, are pretty good at survivability. The elementalist class is capable of healing or damaging. In fact, the three major roles in high level like raids and whatnot is not DPS, tank, and healer, but I would say alacrity, quickness, and what would I say? Definitely alacrity and quickness are two of them. Alacrity is a boon that decreases your cooldown timer. Quickness makes your actions faster. So combine the two in like a high level dungeon or raid group, and now you're doing things more often and quicker, which that's important and very good. That's a direct increase to your overall damage. There definitely is a healing rule. Yay, leveled up again. Ooh. Yeah, see, we got new stuff here. I'm gonna pick the shield. Go for a sword and board sort of deal. So I'm gonna equip the there. So I unlocked shield bash by having that there. Actually, I can also put another sword there. So I can swap out weapons. So I can either throw a sword at an enemy to impale them, or I can have a shield. Whoops, no, don't destroy it. I try to drag it onto the bar, I'm an idiot. Or I can add a shield that increases my defense slightly, and then also lets me stun enemies. So again, you bam, shield bash. Now it's been stunned. So you can tailor your weapons to the situation. So as a sword and shield, I have good condition damage with bleeding. I can stun the enemy, and the shield very slightly increases my defense. Or I could go, whoops, I keep hitting G and H at the same time. I could go sword and sword and do extra condition damage by causing torment on the enemy, which, as you can see there, it does damage over time, extra damage if they're stationary. And I can also rip the sword out of them once I've put it in them to give myself some might, which increases my own damage. Or I can equip a hammer. Just get a big old hammer, which, does a bunch of area of effect stuff. I can, weaken enemies. I can big smash on the ground to cripple them. I can do a big whoa, which knocks enemies away. So again, it's all about tailoring the weapons to what you want. And again, I think that's just really satisfying and a really cool thing. I know Elder Scrolls Online does that, which I appreciate. Elder Scrolls Online, I think, does some things right. I think it has a unfortunately predatory cash shop and sort of way of handling money and whatnot. But at least in Elder Scrolls Online, you can equip a lot of different weapons. But they also fall into the trap of, DPS, tank, healer. Whereas this game is alacrity, quickness, healer, sort of. Although some classes will double up on that. They'll do alacrity and healing, or quickness and healing. There really isn't a tanking mechanic in this game. There is no gaining aggro or whatever. Aggro is very finicky. It's based on a very complex equation that it's hard to game. It's sort of based on the character with the highest toughness value, but also based on who's dealing the most damage to them, and also sometimes it's based on per enemy. Like some enemies will target and aggro enemies that are, or players I should say, they'll target players that are the furthest away from them. They'll target whoever is the first person to attack them within 10-second segments. So every 10 seconds, it'll reset and be like, okay, who's the first person who attacked me? This person? I'm aggroing them now. Like, there is no set tanking thing. And in raids, typically the tank segment... I needed key cards for this section here, this quest here. In raids, if there is a tank quote-unquote segment, it's usually something like targeting a player with a specific like condition on them or something, and you're basically building your entire strategy of the raid around that, rather than just, oh, I'm a tank class, which means I automatically do the tanking. No, sometimes it could be I'm the DPS, technically, you know, but I'm going to be tanking this attack because I'm going to have such and such boons on me, which will allow me to avoid the attack or whatever. You know, it's a lot of just, if you're a new player, don't worry about, oh, am I a DPS or am I a tank? Am I a healer? Don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. It's just play how you want to play. If you want to play a warrior who's focused on support and healing, you can do that. And in fact, there are entire builds online dedicated to it that you can search up. If you want to play a ranger who's focused on doing damage, you can do that. Or you can play as a healer, or you can play as somebody who provides a lot of quickness to your allies to make them attack faster. There's pretty much no wrong way to build your character unless you are going out of your way to specifically build them wrong. So unless you're going out of your way to make a bad character, you're going to make something that's at least viable in, I shouldn't say single player, but like open world, you know, PvE mode and your single player storyline. You have to actively go out of your way to be bad in this game, which I really appreciate. That doesn't mean whatever you do, you're going to be an optimal. Sure, you'll be suboptimal, but you won't be actively hamstringing yourself unless you're going out of your way to actively hamstring yourself. So the whole trinity of tank, healer, DPS doesn't really exist in this game, which is a question that I see a lot. A lot of new players will come in and be like, hey, you know, how does one become a DPS in this game? And it's basically just play your class, but focus more on power and precision stats to increase your damage and critical chance, and that's it. No matter what class you're playing, you can be a DPS, you know. I think after this quest, I'm going, or not quest, this event here. I want to do this little event. There's these little random events that will pop up. And these events actually will also have, on occasion, success and failure situations. So sometimes you'll complete a quest, or I keep saying quest, I'm sorry. You'll complete a event, and because you succeeded, it will start another event because you succeeded. Or you failed it, and it will start a new event because you failed. So it could be, you know, defend this ally as they, you know, walk to their destination. You complete it, and then that ally was, say, an engineer who they get to their destination, and now they are, you know, building defenses for the town. Now the new event is defend the engineer as they build the defenses. You complete that, and then the new event is, okay, you built the defenses, now comes the siege from the enemy. That's the new event. So it's this event chain that keeps happening, and it has this sort of ramification sometimes on the map area. If an event fails or succeeds, it could change how the map sort of feels. Let's say you fail that event of escorting the engineer to the town, and they don't get to their destination. Well, now there's a failure event that happens, which is, crap, now we don't have the engineer. We have to escort them to the nearest, field hospital to be healed up. And then now there's an event of the town is still going to be attacked, but they don't have the defenses anymore, so it's going to be a little bit tougher than if they had the defenses. And let's say you fail that. Well, now that town has been taken over by enemy bandits, for example. And for a short period of time on the map, that town is now full of enemy bandits, and you have to wait for another event of, okay, a nearby town has hired some militia, and you're going to go siege the town and take it back from the bandits. So you have these events that will change how the map plays and how the map feels, and it's all based on success and failure. And one thing that they do right in this game is you cannot really effectively troll or grief events in this game. There's no failure state that can happen because of players actively attempting to make it fail. The only way an event can fail is if the players just aren't doing the event. But if it's something like this, defend this guy, there's no way for me to hit this golem and make the event intentionally fail. The only way I can make this event fail is by walking away and not completing it and letting it fail. So the only way to troll or grief in this game in terms of events is just to not participate. But then you're not participating, which means you're not directly griefing, I would say. Once you're in the event, pretty much everything that you do is going to help it in some way. So it encourages you to be cooperative. So I just said after that I was going to do something. So finish that event. I think as much as I love Metrica Province, I want to go to the next episode. I've been recording for a fair bit now, and I think as I continue to level up, I'm going to teleport to the other starting zones and complete their, sort of starting areas. And, as I keep leveling up, I'll go to these different zones and show off where these other players are starting. You can see that there are sort of level not requirements, but if you go in there earlier than you're supposed to, if I went to this like level 15 to 25 zone right now as somebody who is level 6, I would get my shit kicked in. And nobody would want that. There is dynamic level scaling. If you see in the bottom right, it says, oh, it went back to 6. But if I go over here, if I go further and further closer to this lower level area where everybody's coming in from the tutorial zone, it will dynamically scale my level down to level 4. So I will have the attributes, as you can see, they're all red, which means they've been decreased to put me more in line of other players in the area. It's so that high level players can come in here and participate in events without being so overpowered that they instantly kill everything. You still will be very powerful if you're max level and you go into these areas, because your equipment and whatnot will have all that extra damage and extra defense and whatnot. So you'll still beat up enemies way faster than new players, but it stops you from instantly one-shotting everything in the area. Like, even as a level 80 character, if you go to a level 1 to 15 zone like this, and I go to, more over here, it's still going to take me a few hits to kill an enemy, even though I'm max level and have amazing equipment. It's to stop new players from coming in and griefing everything. There might be, unfortunately, a influx of that happening because of the Steam release. There will be high-level players coming into these starter zones to greet the new players, and they will still be killing these enemies way too quickly for the new players to effectively, tag them for XP. There is no kill stealing in this game. As long as you get a few hits on an enemy, you'll still get, participation and XP for killing them. But that doesn't mean that you can just go in as a veteran player and start wiping out the entire population of enemies in the area. Oh yeah, there's a ranger over there. They have a pet bear following them, and you can see they've got some signets equipped and reinforced armor, so that's their active boons they have. So you can see there that they have a nice little bear following them around. But yeah, as I was saying, like when these new players come in, don't be a jerk. Don't go around killing everything before they can have a chance to attack. And one thing that's always been a problem, you can see here there are these daily achievements. So every day at daily reset time, which tends to be like early evening-ish if you're a North American player, these will reset. So if I mine 10 things in the Ascalon region, which is this region over here, this is the Ascalon region, I will get that achievement. If I complete events in Cursed Shore, which is down over here. Where is it? Cursed Shore? Here it is. So complete events in this area here, which I'm definitely not going to. It's a max level zone. I will get that achievement. Sometimes the daily achievement will be complete events in, for example, Metrica province. And so you'll have these high-level players coming in to complete the objectives for their daily achievement, which if you complete 3 dailies, you get Daily Completionist, which gives you achievement points. It gives you 2 gold, which is a nice slow drip way of getting gold. Spirit shards, which are used for max level, crafting and, legendary stuff. But also just 2 gold is 2 gold. That's excellent. One problem is I have these mounts, and max level players will often have these mounts. And mounts have attack skills that allow you to, actually they're called engage skills. They basically, you use it and it engages you into battle. So on a raptor, what it does is it pulls enemies in and deals damage. So the raptor is really good for starting an engagement by pulling a bunch of enemies into a small cluster. And then now they're in a small cluster, which means you can start doing your AoE attacks and whatnot. I accidentally pressed my healing skill on accident. So unfortunately, you'll have these high-level players coming into these low-level zones. Now he disappeared. And, going in and being like, oh, look, an enemy that I need to kill for this event. And they'll go in and use their engage skill, which tends to deal quite a bit of damage, especially once you're at max level. And then now multiply that among a whole bunch of max level players coming in to do the quests. And they're all going in and doing their engage skills, and all these low level players mounts are very quick. As you can see, I'm able to do these big long leaps that traverse distances very quickly. Again, that's another thing, like oftentimes whenever there's a daily event happening in a starter zone, oftentimes in chat you'll see people saying, hey, remember, don't use your mounts, or use them if you're going to travel to an event. Don't use them if you're going to actually fight in an event, because it tags a lot of enemies, does a lot of damage, and will stop newbies from being able to get participation. And not even newbies. Hell, I've seen times where even I, as a max level player, were a little too late to get to the event, and they're already all dead because some jerk veterans came along and killed everybody too fast. So don't do that, please. Be nice when these influx of new players come in. Be nice. Teach them the game. Let them get their hits in for the XP and the money. help them along. Bring your support builds. Bring your healing builds that don't do a ton of damage, but give nearby players lots of boons and helpful things. And then follow these players along and say, okay, here's this event. I'm gonna heal you so that you don't die, and then you can go along and do this without fearing death or anything like that. And it's a great way to help them out without stealing their kills. Again, I know there's no actual kill stealing. As long as you get a hit in, everybody who gets a hit in on an enemy will get participation. So you don't have to worry about that enemy is at 10% health, I'm going to swoop in and steal the kill from them. No, you'll both get participation, But don't be a jerk and kill enemies before newbies have a chance to. I'm really driving this point home because, again, I want these new players to really be able to enjoy this game without feeling like they're being overshadowed by these new players, or these veteran players, I'm sorry, who are kind of bullying these new people. Don't bully. It's not nice. So I'm gonna leave it at that for now, and then we're gonna teleport to a new zone, and I'm gonna show off these new starting zones and show you where you're gonna be starting for the different races and whatnot. And again, we've been going through and talking about all the things that I think this game does really well, all the things that I think other MMOs should really look to for when they're either being made or being updated. Final Fantasy, World of Warcraft, Elder Scrolls Online, Lord of the Rings Online, all these other games that I've played. I think there's a lot of things that Guild Wars 2 does really right, and they really should look to Guild Wars 2 for inspiration. I certainly have. In my free time, I do writing and drawing and world building for tabletop role-playing games that I've been designing for a long time. And without even realizing it, sometimes I'm like, oh man, this thing I'm doing in my tabletop game sort of feels like Guild Wars 2. Like some of the inspiration of the lore, the mechanics, the style, the sort of feeling and aesthetic of Guild Wars 2 just kind of seeps into a lot of the stuff I've done over the years, because there's just so much that it does right, and it always feels like home whenever I return to this game. I never not love this game. There are very few times where I've not enjoyed my time playing, and it's sort of just because it's just something I didn't mesh well with. Like everybody has those sort of game modes or whatever that maybe you don't like. PvP. I've tried PvP before. I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy myself. That's not the game's fault. That's just I don't like PvP in any game. That's it. But for all the stuff that I do in this game, I've never felt like I regretted my time. Got some crafting materials there. Store that. So yeah. Sorry to I just keep wanting to talk, but I'm just very excited about this game. And I'm really, really proud of ArenaNet for making it 10 years. It's got so much good going for it. And in the next episode, I'm going to try to do a full play. I'm going to try to do a full series of the entire game from start to finish, and just talk all along the way of the things that it does right and critique it along the way. Maybe there's things that it doesn't do right, and that's okay. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be doing your best. And I think Guild Wars 2 really is trying its best, and really is doing what it can to make the experience for players as positive as possible. And as for positivity, if you liked this video, please give it a like. If you want to see more, if you want to keep watching this series and the other series that I will be completing Thief, don't you worry. Subscribe for more. Comment below what your experience is with Guild Wars 2 if you are a new player and you're liking it so far. If you're a new player and you're struggling a bit, say down below. If you're a veteran player of Guild Wars 2 or even Guild Wars 1, I've played Guild Wars 1. It was kind of rough. This game is, in my opinion, way better. Although there are definitely some hardcore veterans of Guild Wars 1 that would gladly go out of their way to be like, oh, Guild Wars 1 better. No hate, no shade. It's a cool game. Guild Wars 1 is a cool game, but I prefer Guild Wars 2 as all. I vastly prefer it. I did Guild Wars 1 to get the Hall of Monuments achievements because I am a stickler for cool, unique weapon skins. I just had to. So yeah, comment your thoughts on it below. And as always, I'm going to zoom in on my face for this. Hold on. As always, have a wonderful rest of your day.